my name is Mercy and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. The first question is, the best book you have read so far? For that question I have two answers. One is my all-time answer, but it's also the answer to the second question in this tag. So I decided to pick another one which is a close second, and for me that is Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I love this book so much. I read it for the first time in December of last year, I think, and then I reread it again in May. I really love this book. I read it 5 stars. It's just a light, squishy, good time. It follows the main characters, Alex, who is the first son of the United States, of the first ever female president in the United States, and Prince Henry, who is Prince of England, I guess. Well, not the Prince of England. He is a Prince of England. He's not in line for the throne. His older brother's in line for the throne. But, so he's a prince. Them discovering their sexualities and how that fits within their very high stake, very public lives. So I love that. The next question is, what was the best sequel you have read in 2020? And that would be Raven Song by TJ Klune. It is the sequel to Wolf Song, and I considered making Wolf Song the best book, but I think Raven Song is better than Wolf Song. I gave you something else, but Wolf Song and Raven Song are really up there in the best books I've read this year, but I think Raven Song is just a little bit better than Wolf Song. You already have a lot of the context for the story, which really helped, I think, make this book slightly stronger than the first one, because in the first one it was all new. You were learning all about how the rules of the world worked, and it was also took place over a really long period of time. And I'm not a super massive fan of books like that, and I did love Wolf Song. And Raven Song's kind of similar. It did have flashbacks to his childhood, but as I say, they were more flashbacks, whereas in Wolf Song it was more like this, following the story along, this is how it's happened. Whereas in Raven Song, you got the present place story, and then certain chapters were placed in the past, but it wasn't more chronological, which was what the first one was like. And I think that improved my enjoyment of it. But essentially, the Wolf Song series, it's a paranormal LGBTQ plus romance about this werewolf pack who live in a place called Green Creek. The alpha to be of the pack falls in love with this boy from the village. There's not a whole lot I can say without spoiling this story, but TJ Klune is such an excellent author, and the writing is so emotive and beautiful, and I would just highly recommend checking it out. The next question is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and that is The Dark Tide by Alicia Jasinska. This is a LGBTQ plus romance, but it is female, which I'm so excited about. I've been reading a lot of LGBTQ this year, kind of as a reflection of my own journey, and also just to be more diverse in what I'm reading. But the majority of the books that I have been reading are male LGBTQ, which is fine. I love them. They're amazing. They feed my soul, but they are all males. And so I made a effort to go out and find some female LGBTQ, because I'm a girl and I'm never going to have a male relationship. And whilst I love them, and I feel like the experience of having feelings for someone who's the same gender of you, and the experience of realizing that you're attracted to more than one gender, or it's extrapolatable, it's applicable. It's applicable to all genders. You don't have to be a male to relate to the experience of falling in love with someone of the same gender, or the emotions behind that, or the fear around that, or any of that. You can, as a woman in the LGBTQ community, or as a non-binary or gender fluid person within the LGBTQ community, you can still relate to the feelings of a male-male romance, and so there's still quality and representation there. It's just that it's not direct representation, and I wanted some direct representation. This is where this comes in. And it's also fantasy, it's magical, which I love. It sounds amazing. It's about this world where every year on St. Walpurgis Eve, a witch takes a person and from the community and sacrifices them to appease the gods, to appease something, to appease some natural force that would mean that everyone would die on this island if they didn't. And this girl thinks that her brother is going to be the next one taken, and so she dresses up as her brother and gets taken instead, and her and the witch end up developing feelings for each other, and they have to figure out some way around the sacrifice, because obviously she's fallen in love, but they still have to save their town. I think it sounds really interesting. I'm very excited to read it. It's not very long, 320 pages. So yeah, I spent a really long time talking about that, and it's like the third question. So let's keep moving. The most anticipated new release for the second part of the year, and that is The Friend Scheme by Cale Dietrich. This is another LGBTQ plus male-male romance novel. It's a contemporary. It's about the son of a mobster and the son of a police commissioner, and they fall in love with each other. It just sounds really good, and I'm really excited to read it. I dished out the cash for the hardback, which is expensive if you live in New Zealand. So I dug deep. Let's move on. My biggest disappointment for this year was First Comes Scandal by Julia Quinn. This is the fourth book in her Bridgerton prequel series. I have loved all three of the other books, and I was super excited for the fourth one. I pre-ordered it at the audiobook on my library. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting to listen to it, and I finally listened to it, and oh my gosh, it was so boring. Nothing happened the entire book, and the romance wasn't really, there wasn't really much romance. It was a marriage of convenience, and most of the first book was them talking about how much they didn't want to marry each other, and then all of a sudden the feeling light switches on. There's been not really any development, and the big conflict is she has allergies, I guess. Well, not really allergies. She has asthma. That's the conflict. She has asthma, and we know that from reading previous books. So, I don't know. It was just, it was so empty. I gave it 2 stars. The next question is the biggest surprise, and that would be The Prince's Gambit by C.S. Pacat. It's the second book in a series. So the series overall, is a bit quick description. The series is about 2 princes whose thrones have been threatened. The first one's father has died, and his illegitimate half-brother has claimed the throne and sent him away to be a sex slave for the enemy kingdom, and the prince of the enemy kingdom is 20, and he needs to be 21 to claim the throne. So his uncle is a stand-in. He's a regent until the prince turns 21, and it's them having to try and overcome their differences in order to reclaim their respective thrones. Favorite new author? TJ Klune, as I said before. Newest fictional crush. I don't really tend to crush on fictional characters. I crush on relationships, like relationship dynamics. Is that weird? I don't know. But for this one, I had a good think, and I've decided to go with Fisk from Sky in the Deep. He's such a cutie. He's protective and loving and yeah, brave, and he loves his family. Gotta love someone who cares about their family. The next question is newest favorite character, and for that I'm going to go with Laurent from the C.S. Pacat Captive Prince series, which I just finished talking about. But I'm going to hold up the third book in the series, King's Rising, for this one, because this is where I feel Laurent really shines. We see the most character development for Laurent in this book. We learn about all his vulnerabilities, his past. He has to overcome his embedded hatreds. He just, the poor boy. It's hard, but he struggles through. A book that made you cry. I cry a lot in books, and I have cried in every single one of the books that I've talked about so far, except for First Come Scandal. Except maybe I cried at how disappointing it was. So the book I chose for this one was Sky in the Deep, because this one started me crying the earliest. Okay, last couple of questions. A book that made me happy. For that I have chosen Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. This is book 2, Sticks and Scones. I don't have book 1 currently. They were out of stock when I ordered it, so it's been back ordered for me. But I've got the second one. I read both of them online. You can read them for free online, and I loved them so much that I wanted to buy the physical books to support the author. It's a LGBTQ male romance novel about sports, ice hockey. And it's just so lovely and gooey and adorable. The next one is the most beautiful book that you have bought so far this year. It's Cry is War. And this is another LGBTQ, female. And look at it, it's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. I had to buy it in hardcover. And again, those hardcovers be expensive in New Zealand. I haven't read this one, but I'm excited to get to it. It's so beautiful. It's textured. I don't think there's anything on the inside. No, it's just black. But it's beautiful. On the dust jacket, oh my gosh, is gorgeous. Color shifting. Oh, it's really lovely. It's about like these. Are they robots? I'm not really sure. I don't think so. But they were created with magic to serve humans. And then they like kind of uprised. They overthrew humans, and now humans work for them. And it's the love story between a human servant girl and the daughter of the sovereign. They fall in love, and they have to kind of... Sorry, it's so gorgeous and hypnotizing. Yeah, they fall in love and crazy stuff ensues. I haven't read it yet, but I'm excited to. Last question, and what books do you absolutely have to read before the end of the year? I have 4 books for this question. The first one, obviously, is The Dark Tide. I talked about it earlier. Then I have another sapphic LGBTQ, and that is The Girls of Paper and Fire. This is a fantasy novel about paper girls, I think is what they're called, and they're like part of a harem, I guess. They're kind of like a harem for the king, and 2 of the paper girls fall in love. This one, which is The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, I'm already more than halfway through. And then the last one is Call Down the Hawk by Maggie Stiefvater. I'm so excited. So yeah, that is my mid-year bookish freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and maybe consider subscribing. Other than that, yeah, have an amazing rest of your day or night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. What am I doing? Excited. Oh my gosh, don't be all good, don't be all good, don't be all good. Okay. Don't be weird.